My name is Angus Owan Jr. and I'm the current PGY1 pharmacy resident. I would say my fondest memory of pharmacy school was kind of coming in. We had a pretty huge class, and it was I would say roughly around 130 to 140, and it was very intimidating because I didn't know anyone at that time, and I was moving to Vegas for the first time as well. So my fondest memory was just kind of seeing my whole bunch of classmates and just getting to know people. It was a very long day. I think it was from like 6 to 6, but it was just, days of activities, pretty much playing games, getting to know each other, being broken out into teams, and it really set the bar, especially because COVID kind of interrupted a good amount of my pharmacy school. I'd say that's one of my fondest memories overall. At a pretty young age, I was really interested in like sciences, back in like elementary and middle and junior high school. So I definitely wanted to do something in the medical field. My mom proposed nursing as an option. I kind of knew early on that I didn't want to really kind of dive into that field, but I was always interested in pharmacy, mainly because, like I mentioned, when I was younger, I always wondered what pharmacists do, and little did I know just how big the field of pharmacy was. But so I decided to do an internship at one of the local independent pharmacies, and it was really neat, and I really enjoyed the process, as a high school student coming in, of what pharmacists do and how they take a different approach to helping people. And that was just insight into the retail aspect of pharmacy. So that kind of really intrigued me and really opened up the doors as I wanted to pursue pharmacy going into my undergraduate studies. So my first job was pretty much, I was a stalker at Kmart before they closed down back home. And at that time, I just needed a job to make some money during the summer. And I kind of lined that up. I got two jobs at the same time. I was a socks person, soccer at Kmart, and I was also a dishwasher at one of a local Japanese restaurant during the night. So those are my two first simultaneous jobs that I had. My favorite holiday would have to be Christmas, mainly because I've always enjoyed Christmas growing up. It was a time where you got to see family, especially because back home in Hawaii, a lot of my family are on different islands. So people would travel and they'd come to my island, Maui, just so we could all be together. And even especially nowadays, as I grew up, it's hard for me to head back home. And my mom usually just requires, once out of the year. So I determined that most of the time, when able to, that's Christmas. And so for me, it holds a lot of sentimental value. And it's just fun to be around family, especially, like I mentioned, nowadays growing up and during that whole COVID spurt where I wasn't able to see family as well. Mm-hmm. So I think that holds a lot of value to me, definitely now more than ever. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm not much of a coffee guy, and so I don't really have any coffee favorite drink. But every once in a while, I do like a good strawberry refresher, mainly because my substitute for caffeine, if it's not coffee, is like an energy drink, and sometimes that can get kind of monotonous. So I like to spruce it up with a strawberry refresher here and there. I think the best life advice I've ever received is pretty much how, if you can't really control things, don't dwell too much on it. And that's definitely something that, I always try to work on. And I think it's really helped me over the years, especially as I moved away from my family. I think that was a big thing where there's a lot of factors you'll experience day to day. And, some things you can control, some things you cannot. And dwelling on parts of the day that you can't control, or even just parts of your life that you can't control, can cause a lot of unwanted stress and even anxiety to a degree, right? Mm-hmm. So that's definitely helped me, and I think it's really helped me have a more calm, cool, collective demeanor, just because, if I'm stressing all the time, I'm gonna be pacing back and forth and just like being worried about stuff all the time. And just being organized has definitely helped me with that as well. Being organized with what I can control. And then, like I said, not really dwelling too much on what I can't control. So that's definitely something I've learned growing up, and I think has helped me throughout the years. I really enjoy sweets. That is something, you can give me a whole bunch of like cinnamon rolls and I'll eat a whole pan if, no one else wants any. Just any type of sweets. Cookies, I've been trying to be better at it, but and I'd say coming here overall, that's something where like, I won't have too much sweets. I'll try to work better at my diet and whatnot, but every once in a while, I will indulge in some ice cream, just anything to crave that sweet tooth. So,
Sweet.
I would say my favorite patient experience would have to be one of the patients that I was kind of monitoring and consistently working with the team in regards to in the ICU. They were there for a decent chunk of time, and day by day there was always stuff that was changing. But what I really enjoyed about this patient experience was that I felt like a lot of my recommendations and my interventions made differences day by day, just because due to the instability of the patient, in my opinion, they needed a lot of constant monitoring, not just with their medications, but a holistic picture of the patient. They just needed constant monitoring. So I felt responsible to a degree, and also I felt like that my responsibility to that patient was to help monitor that patient in regards to all the aspects that were needed, not just medication-wise, but of course medication-wise as well. So I would say with that patient, what I enjoyed was just seeing the progress that the patient made, not just a day-to-day basis, but overall picture where, this week, here are the improvements, and then, seeing improvements such as them being stable to the point where they weren't able to even breathe on their own, to now being able to look at and communicate with their family, smiling. And that to me is something I hold very dear, just because, like I mentioned, following that patient for so long and seeing improvements and knowing my part that I did, and knowing the part that I was able to help with the teams, working with them overall and across all disciplines, I really hold a soft spot in my heart for that. So.